Firetalk is different from Blab, but in many ways it's the same. And what we're going to do is a session all by myself with Firetalk, and we're going to examine how it works and how it's different from Blab. Now, like Blab, it uses the features that are built into Firefox and Chrome, so those are the only two browsers which you can use with Firetalk. And that's what you're looking at right now. You're looking at Chrome, and it's at the Firetalk website. And what we're going to do, first of all, is log in. Now, there are a number of ways you can log in. The one I recommend is using Twitter. This is the same as we did with Blab. So you begin by logging into Twitter, and the computer should know pretty much what's going on. So let's log in. And it says last time you signed in using, and it seems to recognize Twitter. And so it will go to Twitter and then come back here. And as you can see, if you look at the upper right now, there's my icon. That's my personal Firetalk icon, which is part of Twitter. It's a station that I call How Sound. And you can see, you can look at my profile, my dashboard settings, and I have a logout. So that's in the upper right. And if we go to my channel, if you look at the URL at the top, is firetalk.com/howsound, and it's saying my channel is off the air. You can also see that there is a chat field here. The chat field seems to be an ongoing constant thing. So the last time I did an episode with this, it was an experiment with my friend Deepak Sahasrabuddi, and so some of our chat is sitting there, and the material that was there before is still there. So what we're going to do now is go live, and you can see how this works as well. I have a go button here. If you were participating, you would need to come here, sign in, of course, with your own account, sign in and enter the chat field. I would send you a link to tell you where to go. You'd be in the chat field, and what you would do is request a chance to be part of us. You can see where Deepak did that. He clicked on whatever the request button was, and it says Deepak S wants to be a guest. So I see that, and I let him into the event. So what I'm going to do now is click on Go Live, and it's going to start an episode for us. So what I'm going to do is give this some kind of a name. And I'm calling it another Firetalk episode, and go live. That's about it. So you can see that I am live now. When I'm looking at it and I'm broadcasting, my image of me is backwards. So the clock is backwards behind me, and anything I see written is also backwards. A lot of people seem to like seeing themselves as if they're looking into a mirror. Frankly, I find it confusing, having done broadcasting in the past. So I can invite people in here, I believe up to 4, and we also can show other things, such as I can do a screen share, or I can show a YouTube. We're not going to get into that now. We'll do more of that later on. And of course we have the chat field. So I can pop that up, and you can see I wrote this as chat, and it appeared instantly in the chat field. I also find that the video quality here is very good. If I make this a large image, it looks terrific. Now, this worked very simply because I'd done a number of things before I started, and this is what I want to show you now. We use Chrome for this, or Firefox, and you need to do the settings before you get in here. There's absolutely nothing here to change the microphone I'm using or the camera, and I can show you that later perhaps. where you make the change is not during the time you're here, it's before you come here. So you need to sign into Twitter and you need to make sure your settings in Chrome are correct. And I'm going to show you where now. So what I'm doing here is clicking on what they call the hamburger. These are these three little dots. There's three little lines on the upper right. And I'm going down to Settings. And when we get into Settings, we kind of have to work our way through this. So we scroll all the way down into Settings to where it says Show Advanced Settings. And there we have a whole lot of things, but what we're looking for is the content settings. This is a button under privacy. So we click on that and we get a pop-up menu. We've drilled down a long way into the settings for Chrome. And we have to go down here until we find microphone and camera. And so here we are. After notifications, we have microphone and we have camera. Now the microphone I'm using is the microphone on the Boom headset I'm wearing, and it's called C Media, and that's what I choose. You can see I could use the built-in microphone on my computer. I don't want to do that because I really don't want to have echo. We may use these things later on, but I suggest headsets is the way to start with this to make sure we don't have any problems with feedback. So the other place that I've gone, and I'll show that to you in a moment, is how I make sure the sound is coming into my ear. In the meantime, here's where I get the camera. Now, I have the built-in EyeSight camera, which is the built-in thing on my 2009 iMac, which is actually a pretty crummy picture. These other things, such as Cam Twist and Minicam and eyeglasses, are not really cameras. They act like cameras, but what they really do is provide some software between the camera and the broadcast that allows me to do effects like lower thirds. Sounds like a great idea. I find they use a lot of the CPU, and I'm better just to use the straight Logitech camera. Now the other thing that I've needed to do to make sure that the sound is coming into my ear is make sure that the output of the sound is not coming from my computer. It's actually coming directly to my my headset. So what I'm doing, what I'm talking to you now, is bringing up my system preferences. This is Mac system preferences, but I believe there will be something like this for Windows. And I'm going to Sound, and I have the input and the output sound. The output is what I'm really interested in, the output from the computer. And what I want to do is select C Media here. And this will make sure that the sound is coming into my ear when I'm listening to you talk. So those are the three things that need to be set. One in the computer and the other two deep in the settings of Chrome. And this should be done in advance. When that's done, this should all be ready. Now, what I'm going to do is stop the broadcast, which has been going on while I've been showing you some things. And it says, please wait. I would like to make it public. You can keep it private, but I'm going to make it public. And I could promote it on Twitter or Facebook, which I'm not going to do now. I do have a very long URL which I could copy and paste and send to somebody. We're not going to do that right now, but that's all ready for other people to see. Now, the software at the moment is processing that. If I go to my dashboard, you'll see that it's processing the video. That's happening right now. But it won't take too long. I find 5 minutes or so is about all that it takes. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to do the waiting, but you don't have to. It's only been about a minute, and we have another Firetalk episode is ready for us to see. So what I'm going to do is click on that, and bingo, up it comes. And I'm going to stop that. You can see that now the picture is turned around. This is the way viewers were seeing it, and the broadcast is ready. So I can put this up as a URL that people can use to come here and see the broadcast. They won't see the chat field, but they will see the video. I find that the video of the recording, the one that's being put out here, is not as good as the video during the live event. Interesting. Anyhow, that's my tutorial. Those are the bits and pieces. I hope we're going to be able to have fun with Firetalk. Thank you very much for listening.